Toronto. Mr. Oliphant, you heard what the minister had to say there. She said she agrees with the substance or the premise of the bill, but she doesn't want to step on the toes of the provinces, essentially. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't actually think the bill does step on the toes of the provinces. I think it helps the provinces. In fact, only 3 provinces have indicated that there is a problem. So that leaves 7 provinces and 3 territories who have not indicated a problem. The reality is that this bill, I think, for it to have any sort of a sense of real power or ability to help Canadians who face genetic discrimination, we need the full bill. And it's got 3 parts. It changes the Human Rights Act, it changes the Federal Labor Code, but it also makes it a criminal offense to discriminate against people for their genetic characteristics. And that's where the real power of this bill is, and that's why I'd like to keep it intact.
Sanctions that could include fines or jail time. So break this down for us. I mean, what does the bill do in its current form?
What the bill does is it adds 2 words to the Canadian Human Rights Act, which includes genetic characteristics in the grounds of discrimination, so that similar to our gender or race or ethnicity, religion, it becomes a grounds that you cannot discriminate against. The second thing it does is it makes it impossible for businesses under federal labor law to discriminate against their employees. But the third thing it does, it makes it a criminal offense for anyone to deny services or goods to people based on their genetic characteristics. I actually often refer to this as the Angelina Jolie bill, in that Angelina Jolie found out that she carried the BRCA1 gene. She also had a family history of breast cancer. She chose to have a mastectomy and had a radical surgery and dropped her chances of getting breast cancer from 90% to 5%. Proactively helping her health. And because she did that in the United States, there's a law to prevent anyone from discriminating against her. That law doesn't exist in Canada. We can't count on the federal government.
So the amendments that the government's proposing, the 8 amendments, you've said that it would gut the bill. How does it do that?
There are 10 clauses to the bill, and what the government proposes to do is to delete 8 of the 10, including the title of the bill, essentially gutting the bill. And we are working very hard to convince parliamentarians of every party, and I'm having very good support to keep the bill intact, to make sure it's a strong bill, and that Canadians can go and get a genetic test with no fear of discrimination, so that a parent doesn't have to go to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto and choose between getting a test and making sure you get the best treatment for your child, or not, or getting the test and for fear of discrimination. You chose not to get it because your child might not get a job or might get discriminated against in employment or benefits or in insurance. And so that's what this bill is meant to do. And those 8 amendments, which delete 8 of the 10 clauses of the bill, would render it basically impotent in helping Canadians face genetic discrimination.
It's a free vote. You say you're getting a lot of support. Do you think it'll pass, and what's the next step?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I have very strong support from the Conservatives. I have very strong support from the NDP. They've issued a statement on it recently. Elizabeth May is very supportive of the bill, and almost all the backbenchers I've talked to have seen the merits of the bill. And most of them are telling me that they will support it. It comes back on March the 8th for the last hour debate. That happens to be International Women's Day, which is quite important because a lot of genetic illness actually are illnesses that women face. And so it's very appropriate that that's the debate. Another couple of weeks after that, we'll have a vote, and we'll see what happens. But I'm cautiously optimistic.
All right, a few weeks to go, and we'll be watching this one closely. Mr. Oliphant, thank you for your time.
Thanks for your interest.